This week's video features this cute little coffee table that was given to me by a friend. It's solid wood and it looks like it was painted a few times. The drawer comes in and out easily, and it looks like it might have been a vanity at one point. My friend told me she chopped the legs down to use as a coffee table, and the knobs are the original glass knobs. So my plan is to use some lemonade, a paint inlay, and some Hurricane Gray from Dixie Belle. I started the makeover with a cleaning using White Lightning from Dixie Belle TSP cleaner and followed with a rinse. I removed the hardware, which was just held on with a nut, and then I proceeded to clean the drawer, and inside was some wallpaper, so I had to peel that away. Finally, when everything was all peeled away and everything was clean, I took the Hurricane Gray and the triangle or angled brush from Zebra and painted the inside of the drawer. I also painted the outside edges. I really wanted to just freshen up since there was only one drawer. Just wanted to make it look nice because if it's a coffee table, it's something that you're going to be using that drawer often for storage and other people will see it. So I just wanted it to look nice. I put the first coat of lemonade on the front of the drawer. I had filled those little holes in the back of the piece with Durham's wood putty. And then I used a razor blade to just kind of scrape off the excess at the top before it was totally set. I used a mold and dusted it with cornstarch and used Iron Orchid Designs paper clay and made an impression or a casting to put around the little keyhole that was on the drawer. I used Titebond Thick and Quick glue and glued the casting to the keyhole. I did do the first coat of paint because sometimes those molds will shrink a little bit, so that saves me from having to paint around after the mold dries. So to avoid any cracking, it's always good to attach it and to paint it before it dries. The Titebond Thick and Quick is great for using on vertical surfaces because it keeps it from sliding. I did use a little bit of tape with it so that I made sure it wasn't going to slide until it dried. Then I proceeded to paint the rest of the coffee table in lemonade. I have it on a little turntable and I have it upside down first, so that made it easy. I did 2 coats and then I flipped it to do the top. I used a detail brush and painted in the dovetail joints just to add some interest on the side of the drawers. Now it was time to paint the top. While the first coat dried, I used clear wax and coated the drawer front and the mold. I wipe back the wax with a paper towel, and then I use grunge gray wax and a stencil brush and gently use the wax around the casting and around the sides of the drawers. That mold is still a little bit fresh, so I just want to make sure that I don't distort any of the features by being too aggressive with that brush or wiping it back. So I'm kind of gentle with it. The great thing about using clear wax before using colored wax is that if you get too much in some places, the clear wax acts as an eraser. So you can come back in and get rid of any extra marks that are in places where you don't want them. I use a little of the grunge gray around the knob area and around the edges of the drawer. I also add zinc gilding wax to the mold. I add the knobs back on, and originally the screw that holds it in the middle was way too long, so I took a pair of channel locks and just shortened that little screw. On the top of the table, I want to use a paint inlay from Iron Orchid Designs. So I lay out my piece where I think it should be, and when you use a paint inlay, you want to make sure that your paint is wet. Now, in the past, I've had situations where it hasn't been quite dry, or it hasn't been wet enough that my paint was drying too quickly. So I am using a mister bottle. I spray the top, and I also spray my brush before I start painting. I center the paint inlay in the middle and just press it down, and then I use the mister bottle and mist it again. I'm trying to spread it out so that there aren't any wrinkles. If I do get a few wrinkles, I'm not terribly upset about it, because I kind of think that lends itself to a more rustic look. I finish painting around the outside edge, and then when that's all dry, then it's time to remist the paper so that I can pull that up and reveal the image that's left from the paint inlay. Remember that the paint inlay has paint embedded in that paper, so it actually becomes part of the paint that's on the surface of your furniture piece. I'm really happy because it made a really good impression. A few days later, I'm back at it, and I'm using a JRV, or Jamie Ray Vintage Stencil. It's a grain sack stripe. I was going to tape it off. I knew from the beginning I wanted a grain sack stripe, but this is just so much easier, and I really like this stencil. So I'm using the Hurricane Gray. I used the measuring tape to just get it even, but I'm not taping it down. I'm just holding it. I may regret that, but that's what I'm doing. So yeah, I did get a little juicy, as they say there, with the stencil. So I'm just using a real fine touch-up with the lemonade to eliminate any of those little mistakes. Now I'm taking the Big Mama's Butter Scent in Fresh and Clean after sanding the sides and the tops and the bottom of the drawer. And putting this in, it makes sure that it'll slide in and out real easily. Now I'm distressing the top a little bit with some real fine sandpaper. I think it's a 250 grit, and that way everything looks like it's not just painted on or just stuck on or freshly painted. I took it outside to use a little bit of the spray 2X. This works for me, because if you don't do that, if you don't seal it somehow, then when you put wax or sealer on, you're going to smear that paint inlay because it is reactivated by water. So if that makes any sense, your wax is water-based, your sealer's water-based most likely, and it'll reactivate that. So I'm using the gray, the grunge gray wax on the edges. And remember, if you get a little heavy-handed with the wax, you can use the clear wax and erase it back. So I'm just kind of laying some wax down, and then I'll take and buff it out and then come back in with some clear wax to get rid of any real sharp linear lines that I don't care for. So right there is an area that's too heavy-handed for me, so I come back and I adjust that a little bit by using a little bit of clear wax. We share all kinds of tips like this in our channel membership, only 99 cents a month. I hope you consider hitting the join button today. Remember what this little cutie looked like before? Here's what she looks like now. Thank you so very much for watching today. If you like this video, how about giving it a thumbs up and sharing it with your friends? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you don't miss anything. Visit us at LaVintageDecor.company. On Instagram, we're LaVintage Decor, and on Facebook, we're LaVintage Decor Altoona. Stay well.